Today we are pleased to introduce Mary Antoine as part of the Wisconsin Historical Museum's History Sandwiched In lecture series. Mary Antoine was born and raised in Prairie du Chien and has worked for 40 years in the history museum field. She's the president of the Prairie du Chien Historical Society and the curator of collections at Villa Louis Historic Site. Mary has written numerous articles and books on Prairie du Chien, including 2 volumes with Arcadia Publishing. She's the author of The War of 1812 in Wisconsin, The Battle for Prairie du Chien, and her book, Frenchtown Chronicles of Prairie du Chien, History and Folklore from Wisconsin's Frontier, was recently released by the Wisconsin Historical Society Press. She lives in a French-Canadian home that dates from the early 19th century, which she helped to restore. Here today to discuss folklore from Wisconsin's Frontier, please join me in welcoming Mary Antoine.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us here today. As the introduction said, I grew up in Prairie du Chien, and Frenchtown was very much a part of the community when I was growing up. There was Frenchtown Road, and as children, we'd get on our bicycles, go pedal up it. It was basically a country lane, although it was paved. Stop at the old French cemetery, and then go all the way up to Greenmore Lake and go fishing for crappies and sunfish. There were lots of smaller houses along Frenchtown Road and farm fields. And we never asked why it was called Frenchtown Road. It was just that it was. Well, Albert Coyer had a lot to do with Frenchtown. He was an older man, and he lived at the north end of Prairie du Chien, and I understand he was quite a character. Well, for many years I lived and worked in upstate New York, and I returned to Prairie du Chien. I was only home a few days when I went to the local bank, and one of the tellers I knew there said to me, "I have something I know you'll like." And she said, "Next time you come on in and I will give it to you." So the next time I went, she handed me a photocopy of many, many pages of